Hi everyone and welcome to today's painting tutorial. My name is Lizelle and today I will show you how I painted this snowy cabin under the northern lights. This will be an oil painting tutorial, however you can try this in acrylics too by just adjusting some steps or by making use of a slow drying method. That being said, let's quickly go over some of the supplies you'll need. In acrylic you're going to need lamp black, which is optional. Then in the oil colors we'll need titanium white, lamp black, ultramarine blue, chrome green, cobalt violet or any other purple, burnt sienna. Then you'll need a small flat brush and a number 6 or just any bigger variant. Then a round flat brush, number 4, a nice soft blending brush. You can also use a mop brush, then a paper towel, and also 2 containers of turpentine, one with clean turpentine and one to clean your brushes in. I am going to start off by using the acrylic lamp black to paint my trees, and then while it dries we can quickly mix our oil colors. The reason for starting with acrylic black is so that it can dry and then later I can easily layer my 2 lighter colors on top. So by taking the corner of my flat brush, I quickly lay out the silhouette of my trees. As I move to the bottom of the tree, I start using the flat side of the brush. At the top I angle my brush or the tree leaves upwards, and as I move down I angle my brush more downwards. So just for fun I used a very small detailed brush to add some random bare trees. I later covered it with paint and never repainted them back. I probably should have. So now for mixing our oil colors, you are more than welcome to skip ahead. We are gonna start with our blue, taking white, blue, black in a 3-to-1 ratio, black being the least. Mixing oil paint is quite experimental for me, but if you want to keep it simple, you can just mix these 3 colors in 3 or 4 different shades, a light, medium and dark. To be really honest, I hate recording myself mixing paint because I usually just play around, with absolutely no straight method of mixing the colors. Here I add just a tiny bit of green for a very slight green undertone. You can barely even see it. I will also just add more blue to this one to make it a little more vibrant and not as grey. Now I will just be mixing 3 green shades for the northern lights. a little bit of blue to make this one a little darker. Moving on to the cabin colors, we are going to mix our burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Adding white for a lighter shade. For the rest of the night sky, I'm mixing black, blue and a little bit of purple and a tad green for that shine. Two of the shades will be a blue-black, while the third will have a greenish undertone. And lastly, I noticed that I needed a highlight color for the cabin. So let's mix some white and burnt sienna with a tad bit of blue to dim the vibrancy. And now we can finally start to paint. Starting with the cabin and the darkest brown, we're going to start painting our cabin. I slightly wet my brush with turpentine to let the paint flow and apply easier, especially on this small scale. Moving to this side of the house, I will slightly take a lighter shade. Also just want to add some shadows here. This is a big barn type of door, so you will see that I paint little stripe-like brush strokes, leaving areas white for now. Because I paint with oils, I basically always draw my image first, and also because I'm a perfectionist, this makes it easier to paint around areas that is a different color, because it's not that easy to layer paint when it is still wet. It can easily become muddy looking. However, there are effective ways to paint wet on wet with oils too. Here I also add a lighter shade of lines. This will give you that wood effect. I am just adding vertical lines with a light brown here as well to again add to that wood cabin feel. Let's add some window frames with this light brown. Now taking our blue-grey colors and moving to the snow on the roof, starting with our mid shade. I am also going to do these snow heaps around the cabin. Now adding our darkest blue. From here on we will move to a slightly lighter shade each time. Moving to our lighter colors and adding some highlighted areas. And almost celebrating the end of our little cabin. Now that the snow on the roof is done, we're gonna do the same with the little heaps of snow around the cabin and then move to the snow in the foreground. Moving to the foreground, we will definitely be needing a bigger brush. I'll be using this round flat. First, I'm going to wet my brush by dipping it into the turpentine and then drain out the excess amount. This will once again make it easier for the paint to flow onto the canvas. So going back on the topic of earlier where I said that there are methods to use to apply oil paint wet on wet. So that is achievable by starting with a very thin layer of paint, diluting your oil paint with a medium like linseed oil or turpentine, and each layer you apply, you just add less amount of medium. And then another great tip for painting with oils, it's always best to work from dark to light. Now switching to our soft blending brush, with a soft motion, we are going to start blending our colors. Remember not to press too hard. Pressing too hard onto the canvas will blend the colors more and leaving the 4 or 5 shades look like one. After blending, we want to add more detail and we want a bit of that texture back. So we will be adding more highlight and shadow areas. If you are struggling to apply the paint, the reason is probably that you've painted a thick layer of paint. You can then use a darker shade than what we have mixed. But be careful with pure black, and for the highlighted areas you can use white. The snow heap looked a little lonely, so I decided to add another 2. Moving to the sky, we will start with the greenish color and paint it just above the tree line. Then our mid blue and our darkest blue or black moving upwards. Here I am going around the treetops that we painted black. Don't worry if white areas remain. Before moving to the green or the northern lights, let's blend these first. Keep a paper towel at hand and wipe your brush clean frequently while blending. This is to remove excess paint. Don't be afraid of blending over some of the treetops. Moving to the northern lights, we are going to start with our unmixed chrome green, then adding our lighter colors. Now after we have applied our green, we are going to blend them again very softly in an upwards motion. Be careful to blend too much into the blue sky. After blending, I decided to add a little chrome yellow here at the tree line. And again some chrome green. Now taking some white and adding some light here and there to make it pop and blending them out. To make the northern lights pop even more, I will now again add some of our dark sky blue. Lastly, we'll just have to finish up our trees. Taking our mid-shade blue we used for the snow earlier, we are going to do the same as earlier with our acrylic black paint. It is very important to leave black areas. Using a smaller brush and doing the exact same with our lightest shade. Adding just here and there, don't overdo it. And lastly, just taking our black in oils and adding back those tree tops that we have ruined with the sky blending. Further, I just added some titanium white highlighted areas where I felt needed. You can obviously add a lot more detail if you feel like it. And there you have it, your own little snowy cabin under the northern lights. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and maybe learned something new about oil painting. If you want to see more of my works or follow along my journey, my social media links will be in the description down below. Thank you for watching and joining in. Until next time, tot ziens!